Hi, I'm Kathy from Stitch It Together. Today I'm going to be starting my Into the Woods project. In order to understand what I've done, I think I want to go over, so it's story time, what happens in Into the Woods, which is a production. It's a play, a musical. It's also a Disney movie, very good, by the way. So Into the Woods weaves together four classic fairy tales: Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, Jack and the Beanstalk, and Rapunzel. And then they're all brought together by the storylines are brought together by two new characters, the baker and his wife. Now, each of these characters steps into the woods wishing for something more, something that they feel like they don't have, or something that they want, like maybe more love or more money, more adventure, more purpose, something. They all want something. Now, for the baker and his wife, they were very, very happy, but they wanted a child, so they were wishing for a child. But they learned that a curse had stolen that chance from them, and determined to break this curse, they step into the woods and they face all these challenges. And when they face these challenges, we run into the other characters in the four fairy tales. You have, Rapunzel and Cinderella, the Prince Charming, Red Riding Hood and the wolf and the grandmother, Jack and his mother and the Wicked Witch, and you have all those characters. You meet them all there in the woods. So as the story unfolds, the baker's wife, she, while in the woods, has a fleeting affair with Prince Charming. But what's interesting to note is that nowhere does it suggest that it is the baker's fault that she had the affair. The same with Prince Charming. He's had this affair as well. And nowhere does it ever imply that it is somehow Cinderella's fault, that she's done something or didn't do something. But that's just but one of the storylines. All of the storylines, what they do have in common is that they go into the woods and they're wishing for something and they want something. But in their pursuit of getting whatever it is that they want, some of these characters, they make very, very selfish choices, and there are consequences that affect other people. And so what the movie makes very clear is that these actions or these betrayals, they have nothing to do with the characters around them. It really and truly is the fault or owned by the person who does the actions or the betrayals. It isn't a reflection of those around them. Now, for the baker and his wife, and for Cinderella and the prince, the affairs are never discovered. So you're kind of left to wonder, if they had been discovered, like, what would have happened? Would the baker and his wife, would they have stayed together? Would Cinderella, would she have left sooner? You're kind of left to wonder. But I will say, one thing that is really made clear in the movie is that the burden of the betrayal belongs to and is for the betrayer to carry. It doesn't belong to the betrayed to explain. And I thought how, it doesn't seem to play out like that in real life. And I think in this case, I think the play kind of gets it right. Well, anyway, that's the story, and I want to show you what I've done over here. I have, for the first time, made my own fabric. I had the fabric printed by a company called Spoonflower, and it was not terribly expensive. It was kind of labor intensive the first time I did this, and this is the first time I've done this. So what I have done here is, in this panel right here, I created this using canvas. I have used canvas for other things before, but this is the first time that I have done a fabric design using it. So I just picked the four things that will break the curse. Those were kind of the adventure, so to speak, of the musical, is they go into the woods, the baker and his wife, looking for four things to break the curse. And I put those four things into this panel. I was inspired by some things that I had seen by other people had made. And I don't want to say that I copied it, because I didn't. I definitely created the panel on my own. But I was inspired by some other things that other people had done. I use that as inspiration. I'm going to say that the hardest part of this, in addition to the design, was you do need to save it in a certain number of pixels. And then when you upload it into Spoonflower, do make sure that you are putting it in the right direction. You may have to flip your design before you upload it into Spoonflower to get it so that it's going in the correct direction. So this one right here is also from Spoonflower. But what I did to create these is I just copied some photos that were either free on places like Pinterest, but several of them, I did something kind of new for me. I used AI to create these images so they wouldn't have any copyright issues. So I'm going to say that it was a little bit tedious at first, and I used several different AIs to do this. I used the one that's in Canva, I used Copilot, and I also used one that is ChatGPT or related to ChatGPT to get these images. And one of the difficulties is if I got a little bit too close to citing that it was a Disney character, the AI would tell me, I can't create that design for you. And I found that a little bit frustrating. But here's a tip for you. If you actually say to your AI, okay, so what words do I need to use so that you will make this image and it's not too close to saying Disney character? It will actually tell you the words to use, and you can just copy and paste them as your direction, and it will then make that image for you. So that's just a little tip for you. So I don't know how I'm going to put all this together yet. I am a little backwards from my usual protocol. Usually I know exactly what I'm going to do with my fabric, and then I would get the fabric itself. But I felt a little pressed for time initially for this project, and I wanted to be sure I had it in time. I kind of gave myself a deadline. So I had this fabric printed without truly having a plan for it. And now, as life would have it, I'm not feeling so inspired anymore. I do want to say, inspiration may hit me. I'm seeing Into the Woods in a totally different light right now. So maybe something will come to mind. The wheels are actually kind of turning a little bit. And I think, as is the case with many quilters, I might need more fabric in order to do this idea now as it's coming to me. I might have to have it printed, in fact, and now that I know how to do that. But in the moment right now, I don't really know how I'm going to put all of it together yet, but I wanted to share with you that how I made these panels and where the inspiration came from and what the challenges you might face are if you are going to do the same thing. So I'm going to get started on this. I'm going to start sketching, and I think I'll probably start by cutting out these pictures and maybe move them around and see what comes to mind and what I might need to put it all together. In the meantime, I thank you very much for watching. I hope that you'll come back and see what I eventually do with this. And thank you. Happy quilting.